Welcome again to Beyond Hard Hat. My name is Rob. So thank you very much for tuning in to have a bit of a listen to uh, again to our day to day activity again and talk about what's like being safety in the workplace. Um, yeah. So there's a few things that we'd like to talk about uh, what do we do when we finish work? Do you go home and start thinking about, what you could have done better today? Or do you talk about your work with your partner or with your wife or with your family or with your friends and see what's missing out there? So here are some of the few things that I believe we as a safety people in this safety profession we walk away not thinking, what we're going to do and what we're going to do when we get home, or or the expected. We go home and do more things that are, that is required of us to do. So I understand clearly. Sorry about that. It's just the wires are starting to stick out. I understand completely that we do this kind of job because either we love it or we like it or we're passionate about it. So safety in the workplace and safety after the workplace. So let's talk about what do you do when you go home after work? Do you take the safety back to your home and then you think about it or you talk about it? So a lot of things that occur when we do this kind of thing. So um, when we have a hard time at work, when we have uncertainty expectations of things that happen or occur at work, we go home and we carry that mindset. So a lot of that is actually uh, push us to the extent of we the conversation is always about work, 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 work. So how about what do you do when you? For me, when I go home, I still have that mindset of what I could have done better. Or I still have that mindset of an argument that occurred, or I still have that mindset of a disagreement. I still have that mindset of challenges. I still have that mindset of management disagreement, and I still have that mindset of issues that occurred between yourself and the workers or contractors or things like that. And so I go home and I still think about it. And sometimes I'm at the dinner table and I'm be sitting down there thinking, and then your wife will asking, or my wife asks, "Oh, what's going on?" And some things we say, and some things we don't say. The things that we do is actually we keep it in ourselves. So uh, it's not necessarily we keep it in ourselves. We can talk about, but a lot of us we come from a construction background. We don't talk about we don't have that, we don't go out and seek help. So I believe that for a safety person, we should always seek help. Uh, I put myself out there to, I put my hands up. I needed that help to talk about things. So safety after work, what do you do? Do you go home and sit down and do things, or do you go home and do other things at home and don't reflect on the work that you've done and then just set your mind free. When I go home, I get my lawns out and pick up all the dog shit and chuck them all in the fire pit, make it all smoky and take it up and, you know, things like that. Clean up the backyard and tidy it up in the shed. When it comes inside, it's a bit hard. And then you got to start doing things, and then your wife gets home from work, and then my wife gets home, and we do quite at times, a lot of times she does a lot of things I don't. So I got to admit. But then we start talking about reflect onto your day activity. A lot of things I don't talk about is because it's it's actually you deal with, today I've had for example, you'll be having an argument with management, a disagreement, and then or you caught people doing things that are unsafe in your workplace, and then you go up and talk to them, and the retaliation. So you go home, you're carrying that mindset. It's like you took it personal. So we don't normally, those are the things we need to look at. Is we don't we shouldn't be taking work at home. We should not be taking things at home. We should be just once you shut your computer down and put your pens down, take your boots off if you're changing on a site, walk away. I believe is walking away. We do tend to put ourselves out there. We do tend for a very good safety people work the extra mile to make sure you get everything right. You can't please everybody. You just cannot please everybody. But what you can do though is to help um, prevent conflicts. I remember my old boss. He asked me one day when I went for my job interview. He said to me, "Resolution or conflict?" And I pretty much answered back, "Resolution." And straight away gave me gut and walked away. A couple of days later, and I'm ready to start work, and I did my first job. So a lot of the things from Victoria, I did it differently than what I understood here in New South Wales. So Australia has got a very, very strong stance on safety, and we do have safety officers that are very knowledgeable, very educational, very smart, and we do have safety officers boots on the ground are very experienced, very skilled, and have common sense and can work together, create things, make it work. So there are different kinds of those things here. So I'm getting a bit out of topic here. So we do go home and then we sit down and talk about these things here, but a lot of us don't talk about it. You know, we may be having friends out there they don't really understand what we really do. But I've had a few that ask me. So somebody asked me one day, "What do you do for a living?" I said, "I'm a safety officer in the construction." He goes, "What's it like?" And I said, "Well, it's not an easy job that everybody thinks. It's a hard job, and you got to have a thick skin to do this kind of work. You need to know how to um, take those challenges on, and then how to deal with conflicts, and you know how to deal with issues that's arising in the workplace." So, and he goes, "Do you guys, what do you think? uh, does it affect you?" I was going, "At some point, it does. I can't. Yes, it does. It does affect you, and it comes with a lot of responsibility as well. But because you're the safety man, and I say to my friend, just because you're a safety person doesn't mean that you know everything. No, you don't. But what you can do though is to actually help everybody else with what you think. More eyes is better. So when I come home after work, I tend not to talk about this kind of things. I tend to stay away from this kind of, it's a heated day and you just don't want to talk about it. But over the years, I've had my wife notice, can see that I'm a different person, and you tend to get a bit more aggressive, if you know what I mean. So you become a bit more aggressive. So those are the things that, and it's hard to wind down. And your mind keeps ticking and ticking and ticking, and you start rolling in your head. And you come up with ideas, you come up how you're gonna do with documents, and you come up with a lot of things. But it's at home, it should be, clear your mind. That's it. Nothing to do with work. But safety officers or ex-safety management, whatever role you had, retired ones, their mindset never sleeps, and they can pick things. And that's where we at. We pick a lot of things. We know things are not right, and this is us looking at, in that mindset. Um, we tend to view uh, the safety in the workplace as like your family, right? Anyway, so this is one of the few things I like to talk about, and hopefully somebody out there can hear it. And that's didn't take long, so I just want to make some comments and work boots uh, and hard hats. What do you do after that? So go home, relax, take everything off your mindset. Don't open up the laptop. Look at your phone about work. Just keep it clear. All right. Good luck, everybody. Hope to hear from you soon. And when you go to work, goes to work, be safe, and go home and see your family. God bless. Goodbye.